Good evening. It is August the 26th, 2017, and I'm here to update you guys on a September outlook video to show you what the month of September I think will be precipitation and temperature wise. Now, what you're seeing right here is a look at the GFS predicted 500 millibar geopotential height. That sounds like a lot of big words and a lot of confusing weather language, but basically, this is showing you the ridging and the troughing going on in the upper levels of the atmosphere, way up thousands of feet off of Earth, off of Earth's atmosphere, and basically we look way up in the atmosphere to see what will happen here at the surface, and we see the cooler, the more greens, the more yellows, the more light oranges that you see right here. Those are indicating more cooler temperatures most of the time, way up into the atmosphere, a little bit more troughiness, lower heights. Okay, the lower the geopotential height number, then usually there's more of a trough potential in that region. Not always, but most of the time. Where you see these dark reds and these light reds take place, that is indicating some strong ridging, some strong geopotential height numbers, and that is indicating that we're looking at more warmer weather in those parts of the world. But here at home, right here where my mouse is circling right here, we're looking way up into Canada, way up onto the North Pole to see what's going to happen here for the month of September. So this is starting out at present day. This time lapse is up here is your forecast hour, and this is your timestamp right here, your date stamp. And you can tell that at the beginning of this loop where it just started now, we see these lower heights begin to move away and a little bit of some ridging, but notice how we begin to see this plunge of cool Canadian air. I'm not going to use the word cold yet because we're really not into the heart of fall or the beginning of winter yet, but you can tell that we are looking at some slightly lower height numbers as we go into the middle and beginning of the month of September, and that is something that I really think is going to be an indication of what the rest of the month is to come. I do think that we will see probably some cooler temperatures to start off the month of September and maybe a little bit more closer to average by the time we get towards the middle of the month, and maybe a reprieve, and then by the end of the month, I'm thinking we might see that cool air come right back, and I'll show you what I mean by that here in a couple more slides. As we go on to your next slide, this is showing you the averages for the month of September, and you can tell that here, right here on September, the total precipitation amount is 3.75 inches. So that is about 3 inches and a quarter, 3 inches and 3/4 rather. So I do think that we're going to be looking at several inches of rain for the month of September. I think that we will see several cold fronts be coming through the region. What happens when you try to transition from summer to fall, you begin to see more cold fronts come through, and you begin to see a lot of rain and a lot of activity come through your region because the atmosphere is trying to switch seasons. It's trying to switch patterns, and when it does that, it has to bring in cool Canadian air when you're going from warm to cool. And by doing that, it has to bring cold fronts through the region, and cold fronts bring rain chances. So I think that we will be seeing an above average amount of cold fronts, and that is mainly because we're looking at above average chances for cold shots, mainly below normal temperatures for the month of September. So, with that being said, it's very hard for the month of September for you to say that you're looking at below normal temperatures when meanwhile September is a transition month for us. August is usually our last full month of summer. September is not really our first full month of fall, but it's considered really a transition month for this part of the country in western Kentucky because we're really seeing a little bit of a mix of summer and fall because the seasons are trying to transition. And so when you say you're going to have below normal temperatures for the month of September, and that's a transition month for you, then that's basically saying that you're looking at several cold fronts coming through because a cold front brings the cold shots behind them. That's why it's called a cold front, obviously. So if you see an above average amount of cold fronts, then you're more than likely going to be looking at above average chances for precipitation. So it's as simple as that, and that's what my thinking is going into the month of September as far as precipitation is concerned. If we watch my mouse slide over, our normal maximum heat of the day temperature is around 89 degrees in the month of August. That drops a whole 7 degrees by the time we go into September. So we're looking at really those temperatures beginning to drop. We're already seeing those temperatures cooler than what we have been seeing in the month of late July and early August. So we already know that our temperature department is lowering, that we are beginning to see temperatures becoming more to the fall standard side of things than they are summer. The same works for our morning low temperature. Normal is around 66 degrees in August, and we drop that by around 9 degrees for the month of September, we're looking at around 57.8 degrees as a normal, and you can just tell it skyrockets from there, or rather not skyrockets, but it decreases very rapidly from then on, from September onto the month of December into the heart of winter by January. So from now on, we're not really going to be seeing a leveling off like you see here in June, July, and August. It's pretty uniform in the mid to upper 60s for morning lows. By the time we get into the month of September and onward, we're really looking at a quick drop in temperatures, and we're looking at a quick average. The average temperature will be continuing to quickly fall off as we go into the month of September and onward. So if we look at the mean average temperature, the mean of our morning lows and highs combined, that's around 77 degrees in the month of August, and that drops about 8 degrees for the month of September. So our overall average is really going to begin to lower a whole lot, and so I do think that we are going to be beginning to see not only our averages dropping, so temperatures will be cooler in the month of September than they were in August, but we're looking at below normal temperatures, so they should be even cooler than these numbers that I'm showing you here. This is what we had for the month of August, and you can tell that temperatures were well below average. This is the overall mean. Excuse me. This is actually, I need to change this image. This was this image right here was the afternoon maximum temperature mean. So this was looking at our afternoon highs, and the mean of those was well below average. But I can tell you that the morning lows was not as robust as this. We did see some below normal temperatures for our morning lows, but we didn't see as robust greens as we do now. And we still have a few more days left of August, so it's not like the month is over just quite yet. But you can tell by the time we would put those two together, we had around 3 degrees or so, 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit. This is measured in Fahrenheit of below normal temperatures for the month of August, which is well below average. And there is a possibility that some locations around the eastern part and central part of the country especially could be setting some records for their August standards. Here is what the European ensemble mean is forecasting over the next 32 days. So this is basically kind of summing up the whole month of September to come and the last few days of August. And you can tell it does have the heart of the country into those blue deep contours, showing us that we're going to be looking at below normal temperatures for the next 32 days or so. And if we showed you the 46-day map, it's even lower than that. Precipitation looks to be like we're going to be seeing the precipitation amount is going to be really below normal or above normal, like I mentioned. You can tell the European ensemble mean is agreeing with that. This is mainly showing what Hurricane Harvey impacts are going to be, but you can definitely tell the big picture because of our cold fronts coming through. There will be some parts of the country. I don't agree with all of this dryness over here in Missouri and Illinois, but they also in this part of the country have been in a short-term drought over the summer, so I wouldn't be surprised if some locations end up with below normal precipitation in this area in Missouri and Illinois for the month of September. But I do think that really this whole area that I'm circling my mouse will be looking at above normal amounts of precipitation because all of our cold fronts will be coming from either the west, northwest, or the west. So that is where if we are having above average precipitation, more than likely they will be also. Granted, there could also be some exceptions in there as well. I did want to show you guys the ensemble mean for snowfall. Not to say that we're going to be looking at any snowfall, but I did want to show you guys that the seasons are changing. We are looking at more cooler weather coming into our region, so that means areas to our north, folks to our north, are already going to be seeing snowfall over the next 46 days. This goes all the way out to October the 9th, so this is not anything by any means going to be something that happens in the next couple of weeks or even in the next month, but all the way out into around the beginning to middle of October, we are beginning to look at that snowfall beginning to work its way southwards. So it's already beginning to transition. Snowfall is already beginning to move its way back down into the heartland. And so by this time, we're going to be looking at, right now, no snow across the heartland, or at least across the entire country. But once we get into maybe around the middle of September, we're going to begin to see some areas in the Rocky Mountains start to show up with some snowfall, and then it just progresses south and eastward from there. There is a couple more images that I did want to show you guys that I don't believe I have on here. Here they are right here. This is showing you right here. I already showed you guys that, but this is another thing that I wanted to show you guys was the sea surface temperature anomalies right now, and you can tell that they are above average in portions of the southeastern United States where the coastal waters are there. And so with that being said, I do think that there will be a constant high pressure system that continues to spin right here in portions of of the southeast coast. We call it the Bermuda High. With it being there, I do think that it will be spinning occasionally some above normal temperatures in for the month of September. I do not think that the month of September is going to be as far below average as the month of August was. I think that we will see a little bit more of some reprieves than we saw in the month of August, and not such long durations of chillier temperatures, but some reprieves in there as well. But once we average it all out, I do think below normal temperatures will be the key. And then we can also tell that we also have some Gulf of Mexico warm waters, so that will also be a source for some warm air to be getting pumped into our region. In turn, it pumps more moisture into our region, and the more moisture content in the atmosphere, typically the warmer those temperatures are. So we put all of this into turn. You can tell that we could be looking at some reprieves, but overall, we still have some warm temperatures for our PDO and PNA values, as well as in the Greenland blocking area. We are looking at above average sea surface temperature anomalies, so this is also showing or indicating below normal temperatures for the month of September. So that is something that is of interest as well. And in that geopotential height map that I showed you at the very beginning of the video, something I mentioned before I made my August forecast was this high pressure system, this Greenland block that likes to pump its way in there. Towards the end of this video, you can tell, or the end of this loop, that this really strong high pressure system continues to stay in charge and continues to rule the game over there in that part of the world. And that is going to be a big playmaker for us, because the bigger that high pressure system is, the stronger it acts, the more below normal temperature chances that we have, because it in turn pumps a lot of this cool air downward into our area, and it propagates into the central and south part of the United States and east part of the United States as well. And it also pumps a ridge into the west, and that is also going to be something that we're going to have to watch, this constant ridging coming up into the Gulf of Alaska, and as well along the west coast rather, and West Canadian area is going to be in turn making for cooler than normal temperatures for our region as well. So that was something that I did want to show you guys. And the PNA values are looking to be still above normal and above zero, which means that we're looking at the PNA pattern to be positive. And when it's positive, we typically see cooler than normal temperatures in the central and eastern part of the United States. That works for really just about any time of the year. Winter especially is something that the PNA can play a big role in for our part of the country. So this is something that I wanted to show you guys, that PNA really beginning to pump up and stay positive throughout most of the month of September. This goes all the way out to the 11th, but I do think this will be a trend that will continue throughout the month of September. And that looks like that is just about it for the video. But as you can tell, it does look like we're going to be looking at below normal temperatures for the month of September, above average precipitation as we begin to see those months transitioning. And as you can tell, it is only August the 26th right now, so it does still feel like summer. But really, guys, within the next month, a lot is going to change. So this is kind of the last couple of days of summer. And speaking of that, meteorological fall begins in around 5 or 6 days on September the 1st. So this would be in 6 days. On next Friday, we're looking at the meteorological fall season to begin. All summer records from the National Weather Services across the country will come to a close on Thursday at midnight. So this is something that kind of excites me. I hope it does you too. But meteorological fall is just 6 days away, and to the meteorologists and to the weather world, summer will be over in about 6 days. But that doesn't mean we still can't have summer weather in the month of September. Like I said earlier in the video, it's a mix of summer and fall because it's a transitional season. So we will be seeing a mix of both, but more fall than we are summer, hopefully, as we go throughout the month of September.